place over at Wolf Lake right now. Sheffield Avenue is going to go through a relocation. A couple of the businesses have moved out, and a few more will move out, and we'll take that part over for park property. Again, welcome to this part of Hammond. I've been a resident my whole life. I've owned a home, the same home, for 26 years. I love it here. It's a great place. I bring people. We're 2 miles from the South Shore. We're about 2.5 miles from 93rd Street and the Metro. People could get to Chicago very quickly and very easily. With that, Pete, I know you guys want to get called.
I was commenting to Mylan that when I worked for the city of Hammond almost 8 years ago at this point, that much of the stuff that we were looking at was it was just a plan on paper, and it's really nice to see that 8 years later a lot of it is coming to fruition. So great job to Mylan and his staff for all the work that they've done. Our last speaker before the mayor closes us out, many of you may know her. She's pretty well known in the business community, particularly for her work in the city of Hammond, and I think she's here on behalf of the Downtown Hammond Council today. She's their president. Let's welcome Karen Nervia.
Hello, everyone. As you said, my name is Karen Nervia, and I am the president of the Downtown Hammond Council. And
hi, I'm Darlene Flores, also part of the Hammond Downtown Council, and we want her to speak.
My partner in life and business, Raimundo Garcia of El Real, was supposed to join me today, but one of his employees had a baby, so Darlene is helping me out today. For those of you who don't know, the Downtown Hammond Council is a volunteer, not-for-profit organization. I stress that because a lot of people think that the Downtown Hammond Council is a part of the city. I want to make it really clear, we could not do what we do and what we accomplish without the support of the city. So I want to give a huge thank you to Mayor Thomas McDermott and the city of Hammond, because to be able to accomplish what we do it with their support. So I want to thank you. Okay, so there's a few things I want you to know. I live in Hammond. My business is in Hammond. I own It's Just Serendipity. We're just about to celebrate our 5th birthday in September. We're a store in downtown Hammond. And my partner Raimundo is also developing the former Woolworth building at the corner of Sibley and Homan, which is going to be artistic endeavors and a restaurant catering facility. So we are very invested in our downtown and our city. So did everybody give me their business cards? If not, I'm going to have Darlene walk around. If you didn't give us your business card, please just raise your hand. She'll grab it from you, because we have some prizes to give away. What I'm going to talk about is how fabulous our downtown is. Excuse me, allergies. I chose to come back and live in Hammond and to have my business here. And all of us talk about different things. If I walk up to somebody, I might say, "Hi, nice to see you, Africa." And what would you say?
Hi, nice to see you.
What would you say? Okay. I've noticed a lot of people, I'm using, this is my prop, lips. And some of you are going to get lips today. A lot of times you walk up to people and they say, "Hi, nice to see you." And a lot of times it's just, "Hi, how are you?" "Fine, how are you?" "Fine, how are you?" And nothing's said. When we talk, our words are very powerful. So I want to give out some lips today, because as realtors, if you are going to sell Hammond, you need to be sold on Hammond. So I want to tell you why you should be sold on Hammond. I love living in the city of Hammond. I love having my business here. And I'm really honored. Our store was named the #1 antique store in the Times Best of the Region for the 4th year in a row, which is a huge honor for us. And El Real was named Best Mexican Restaurant for 40 years in a row. So, 20 years in a row. They've had their 40th anniversary. But the reason, what I say for that is that people come in and they say, "Oh, your store is fabulous, you should be somewhere else." And I say, "No, I should be right here." And now you're here because of our store. So the one thing I really want to leave you with is, I know all of you guys have your phones. Please go to the Downtown Hammond Council Facebook and like us on Facebook so that you can be in the know about what's going on in downtown Hammond. Also visit our website, which is downtownhammond.org. Couple things. If you're a city employee, I don't want you to raise your hand or if you're affiliated. Tell me, I want to see a show of hands. Who has come to downtown Hammond in the past month? Okay. Who has come to the Downtown Hammond Council events? Okay, now we have our work cut out for us. Okay, the things that we do are Eat, Shop, and Rock. It's our 5th annual event. It is the 4th Saturday in June. It's all about the 60s, 70s, and Beatles. There's vintage cars, there's vendors, live music. Kirk Muskrat from the Northwest Indiana Symphony Orchestra is going to be our celebrity judge. I'm honored to serve on the board of South Shore Arts and the Symphony, so the music and the arts are super important to us. So for the entire family, there's going to be all kinds of fun. So save the date for June 28th. And then our 9th annual Bazaar. Has anybody been to that? Yes. Thank you. It's held at Harrison Park, and it's a wacky, outrageous, fun day for the entire family. Everything from a pie baking contest. This year we're really excited. We're going to have Wizard's Chest. So in addition to the adult and children's chess competition, we're going to have Wizard's Chest where the children are going to actually be on the board and play out the pieces of chess. So there's educational things like arts activities, and then there's fun things like pony rides. So save the date for that. We also hosted our first annual Hunting off Holman Avenue, which was our neighborhood and business garage sale. We're going to grow on that every year. That's a lot of fun. We do several spring and fall cleanups during the year. We are also having a really exciting Hammond art tour, and that is 12 local Hammond businesses supporting local artists. So that's May 31st. And I would love for you guys, before you leave, this is really important because I know some of you didn't take this from the table. The Downtown Hammond Council is a partner with South Shore Arts. That's the visitor center. And we are really big on promoting our fabulous downtown and our fabulous city. So please, before you leave, go to that table and take this. There's a flyer for our events, as well as information about us in the South Shore Guide. So please make sure you take one of those. There's a couple mantras of mine that I really believe, and a couple of them, the 3 that I really hold near and dear to my heart are, be the change you wish to see in the world, do what you love, and love what you do, and really important, what you think about, you bring about. If you guys hang around somebody that's negative and that says it's never going to work, it's probably never going to work because they have bad karma around them and they bring bad things around. A lot of people many years ago said, oh, downtown Hammond is dead, nobody goes there. Well, you know, they're the ones that are going to say the glass is half empty as well, because our downtown is really vibrant. The city and the mayor have really committed to it with beautification projects. If you haven't come to our downtown, I encourage you, please come visit us. Not only is the Toll Theater there, which is a beautiful facility to see things. Again, we have South Shore Arts, we have Paul Henry's Art Gallery. I'm really excited. There's 2 other stores similar to mine in the downtown district called the Junk Ferry and the Attic Resale Shop. There's tons of activities going on. So I would really encourage you. What's our motto is, Hammond is happening. And I hope that you leave here today excited and that you want to come and visit and that you'll share the news about our downtown. I want to also, okay, show me again who has been to downtown in the last month. Okay, Darlene, by Vanna. The people that are holding their hands, I would like you to give them this. And then we're going to pull for door prizes. So, you know, you can give these to your grandkids or kids, but I'd really like you to put them on your desk, take them to work, and really think about what you talk about every day and what you say. What you say is really important. If somebody asks you where to live, say, hey, Hammond is a great place to live, as Africa said, play and work. There'll be fun photo ops on the golf course if you have those as well.
Oops, sorry, Janet.
Okay, I would really like to move for your prizes. Okay, from El Taqueria Restaurant, you are going to win a Corona and an El Taqueria mug. And the winner is Estella Lopez. From It's Just Serendipity, we have a shopping list gift certificate and a cake in a jar. This cake in a jar is ready to eat. You don't have to bake it. It's not a project. You eat it and enjoy it. And that winner is Ruda Sidipis. And now we have a few Bizarre Bazaar t-shirts. I'm just going to call your name if you can come grab them. Kia Bergerson. And Harry Koister from Century 21. And last is Annabelle Enriquez. Thank you, everyone, and please come and see us in downtown Hammond.
Okay, I realize I messed up because when I first got here, I mentioned that I was happy that the mayor wasn't here, that I got a chance to make fun of him, that he was a pain in the butt to work for, and someone told him, and then I realized that he's the last person with the microphone. So I just want to say, don't believe anything that he says. It's not true. Without further ado, let's welcome our wonderful mayor, Thomas the Green.
Stepped down as the Lake County Democratic Chairman. Right? Anyway, I appreciate you all coming up here. By the way, what a great turnout. This is the best turnout we've had, so thank you very much. I appreciate Pete. You know, I don't know what he said about me. I got a couple whispers in my ear when I got here. But I think, you know, maybe part of the reason there's so many here today is because, you know, leave it to Pete to turn something into a golf outing, but he put our normal meeting and made it a golf outing after, so I think Pete deserves a big round of applause. When we got the job offer for Good and I are obviously, you know, Pete and I are real good friends, and it was a tough conversation. Both of us sat down, and he told me, you know, how well it pays, and then he told me about how much golf he's going to be able to play, and I said, oh, I can't play. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No, Pete's the best. I love working with Pete. You know, he was a great worker. I know he does a great job for you guys. He's smart, he's intelligent, Anyway, thank you for coming out to the Lost March Clubhouse. A lot of people get to, you know, have weddings up here and a lot of receptions. It seems like it's a very busy place, especially during golf season. But one of the nice surprises about the restaurant and you know, the banquet facilities we have up here is it's busy year round. A lot more busy during this time of year, but it's a beautiful building. We did this, gosh, I think probably about 2006, 2007, so the building's been up for a while now. In fact, this part of the city, you're in Robertsdale, the Robertsdale section of Hammond, is getting a lot of attention from our RDA grant that we received, a $35 million grant, and from a lot of federal money that we have coming in here. We've literally changed Wolf Lake. In fact, one of the really cool things we've recently done, and you can sort of see it from here, is the high tension lines that go through Wolf Lake over there. We put a bike path right below it, and it goes through the lake. And it gets you to cross Wolf Lake, which is, a lot of people, the Ileana Yacht Club is over there. That's Hammond. But it was impossible to get to that part of the city without backtracking through Illinois. So now that we have this new bike path, it gets you to parts of the city you've never been able to go to before. It's a 6-mile loop all the way around Wolf Lake, which is nice. You can do 10Ks, you can do 5Ks. It's going to be part of our all-night bike ride, which is coming up. Anyway, I would be remiss if I did not thank the elected officials in Hammond to help me as mayor. First, I'd like to introduce and thank Councilwoman Dana Venez. She's Councilwoman at Large, which means citywide. Also, Councilman at Large citywide is Bob Markovich. Thank you very much. And I'd be very remiss if I didn't mention one of your fellow realtors in here, who's a great guy, a great Hammond councilman, also at large, Dan Spitali. You guys can be very proud of Dan. He regularly beats me up on realtor-related issues on a regular basis. In fact, we're supposed to apply. Anyway, I've been mayor now for 11 years. We have a great team in place. You got to meet a lot of the people on my team today. They do a great job. They're professionals. They live in the city of Hammond. Many of them, for their whole life, they care about the city. And it's one of the most basic things when I took over. If there's one thing I'd like, you know, I was asked the other day, well, tell me, you know, when you're done being mayor, what are people going to say about you? I said, well, they'll talk about the College Bound Scholarship, I'm sure, and it's a great program, and I know you guys got to hear about it, and we were happy enough the other day to extend it, and I'll get into that in a second, but I think the one thing that they'll really remember my administration for is a focus on Hammond. You know, I took over, and at the time I took over, we had a lot of our department heads that didn't even live in the city. We had a lot of our employees, because if the boss doesn't live in the city, why should the employee live in the city? And there was this attitude that it didn't matter if you lived in Hammond, it didn't matter if you bought from Hammond, it didn't matter if you went to Hammond restaurants or businesses, and that's something that we've really changed. And I'm proud of that, because I always say this story, and I'm always going to say it as long as I'm the mayor. If I worked at the Ford plant over there in South Chicago, and I came pulling in a BMW, or I came pulling in a Chevy, your bosses are going to be looking at you funny. You know, you work at Ford, you should drive a Ford. You should show everybody how great the Ford product is, right? If you come pulling in a Chevy, they're gonna look at you, and they might not say it, but they're gonna be thinking, you know, you gotta practice what you preach. I love this city. I love being a mayor. I really do. It's a great job. You know, it's tough sometimes. Like when it snows a lot. I had to remind people that they lived in the Midwest a lot this winter. You know, it's funny, or when it rains a lot, it's no fun either, but at the same time, there's great things you get to do, like building parks and bike trails and beautiful clubhouses on a golf course that was built by the previous mayor, Mayor Dwayne Vila, who also did a great job. The College Bound Scholarship, I know that's something that's near and dear to a lot of people's hearts in here, because I think it makes your job easier. We renewed it. When we started, it was a 10-year promise, funded through casino gaming revenue, and it says basically if you are children of a Hammond homeowner and you graduate from high school, it doesn't matter where you go to high school. You can go to Marian Catholic, you can go right here in Hammond, and you need a Hammond High Schools, you can go to Bishop Knoll, Andrean, whatever. As long as you meet a certain GPA, certain SAT score, we will give you $10,500 a year to go to college. It was pegged initially to IU Bloomington's tuition, and since that time, with the new promise, we've done this for 8 years, over 3,000 kids have participated in the program, countless number of homes sold, countless number of families that would have moved out of Hammond stayed in Hammond because of this program. You know, I'm sure they love the city, but it just makes sense. I have 4 kids. You know, I'm not moving anywhere. I got 4 kids, $40,000. I can do math, you know, $160,000 on scholarship. But, you know, I mean, but at the same time, you get people to move here the same way. You know, if you have triplets, move to Hammond. That's good. It's not income based. It's not per children, you know, per child. It's not income based, not per child. So I think it's a great program. We did something really creative this year. We're right here on the border, as you all know. And we have a great water company, Hammond Water Company, right over there. It has a pipe about, I don't know, a quarter mile long, half mile long, goes out to Lake Michigan, about 20 feet below the surface, and that's a source of water for a lot of you in this room, no matter if you live in Hammond, or if you live in Whiting, or if you live in Munster, or you live in Dyer, or you live in Illinois communities. A lot of the people in this area get their water from Hammond. And when we sell water to a community like Munster, we're regulated by the IURC. IURC says you can only sell it to them at the wholesale price, Mayor. So we sell water to Munster maybe at 75 cents for 1,000 gallons, and Munster turns around, they sell it to their residents. And they sell it for a higher price, and that's not even why I'm here talking about it. And Munster sort of makes money off of that, which, you know, government needs to make money to keep running. I'm not criticizing. We took the same concept over to Illinois, where we're not regulated by the IURC, and we looked. In Chicago Heights, for example, their contract was up. We looked at what Chicago Heights was selling water to their residents for, $3.30 for 1,000 gallons. And we're selling it to them for 55 cents. I remember a line from Caddyshack. Not Caddyshack, it was Animal House. And I know a lot of people saw this. It was a part where they said, hey, they can't do that to our sponsors, only we can do that to our sponsors, right? Well, it was sort of like that. It's like, wait a second. We bring the money in, we maintain the pipes, we pipe it all the way out to Chicago Heights, and then they take it and they turn it into a revenue source. We're not regulated by the IURC. We're good neighbors. You know, we sell it to Dyer at wholesale, we sell it to Whiting at wholesale, we sell it to Munster at wholesale. But when we sell to Illinois, it's in retail. We need 2 contracts with a couple communities in Illinois, Calumet City, Chicago Heights. Chicago Heights, a little distribution center, they sell it to a number of communities over there. And that extra revenue we created from these contracts, 20-year deals we made with these municipalities, resulted in about $5–6 million of extra revenue to the city of Hammond. So I'm proud of that. put the money with the Hammond Water Department because they have obviously critical infrastructure needs that need to be maintained in their plant, the pipes, and everything that gets it out to Chicago Heights. But the city of Hammond took an extra $3 million of revenue into our city, and we literally earmarked it for the College Bound Scholarship, which makes the council people happy because now they can focus that gaming revenue on what it's truly meant to go to is the infrastructure of our city. So the happy story is we announced a 12-year extension the other day. We pegged the tuition to Purdue Calumet, which probably should have been done in the first place. Interesting facts about the College Bound program. Half of our students stay local. Half. IUN, Purdue Cal. Purdue Cal, by far the biggest recipient of College Bound scholars. IUN, also big. Cal College, also big. So it's pretty neat to see this scholarship and how it's changed people's lives. And one of the cool things about the scholarship is the students have to do 40 hours of community service with the city of Hammond in order to get the scholarship. We meet a lot of really great students through this program. One of them you met earlier, Leanne Munoz, was a College Bound scholar. I met her over the course of 3 years while she was doing her internship at the Festival of Lakes. She did an internship out there, and the first year I was like, wow, that young lady's really got it together. And the second year I'm like, oh, I remember you from last year. And by the third year I was like, when do you graduate? She said, this year. Favorite job. So not only do we have Leanne, the College Bound intern that did it the right way, we hire her, bring her into an entry-level job in the city. She promoted herself, and now she's running the program. I was actually looking out there to see if she was there. So. But it's a great program. I think it's going to be key to Hammond's growth, key to maintaining Hammond's population, which seems to be the problem with urban cities in the Midwest, not just in Indiana, is urban cities are losing their population at a frightening rate. And in Hammond, you'll notice if there's another thing we focus on is gearing it towards home sales, selling homes, maintaining home ownership percentages, and that is your sweet spot. I've been endorsed every time I ran for mayor by the Northwest Indiana Association of Realtors, and that was even before Pete started working for you. So I just want to thank you guys for all the support over there. I was getting beat up by Councilman Spitali last week about the Homebound program, and I'm not going to come up here and dodge this question, okay? The Homebound program, I love it. It's been funded for years through mayor's discretionary gaming revenue. We went recently into a mix of discretionary gaming revenue and CDBG funds, using federal funds. One of the problems is using the CDBG funding doesn't qualify for a lot of your customers because they don't meet the income guidelines that they have to meet under this. We are aware that right now there is a low balance in the mayor's gaming portion, and we're trying to rectify that as we speak, okay? We're going through the process. I know that we wanted to make a commitment because Councilman Spitali was very concerned that there were deals in the pipeline where the commitment was made and the money wasn't there to commit to it. I told Councilman Spitali, absolutely, every commitment we made will be followed through on. We're looking at maybe a possible different way to do business down the road, but if we made a commitment, we will follow through on it. I made that promise today, and I'm making it to you guys today, okay? So, and I promise you, we're trying to make the program better. So, anyway, I wonder if you guys have questions, because sometimes I have a tendency to talk about things that you don't want to talk about. So, yes?
I just have a comment.
Sure.
Everything that you have done because I grew up in Hammond, I still live in Hammond.
Thank you.
And everything that you have done for the city is wonderful. Downtown is beautiful.
Thank you.
And of course out here, all your bike trails, I love them.
Isn't that great?
And you're still working on them. They're great. I use them all the time. I love Hammond, Homebound, and College Bound. I have family members that graduated from Purdue, Lafayette, and from Bloomington using your program.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Any other questions? Yeah, in the back. Nathan.
I'm really,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm really happy to see the bike trail. Biking is really becoming a great occupation for our health reasons. But I wondered if there would be bike rental facilities also.
That's a great question. You know, that's a big thing now. And I know that the Whiting-Robertsdale Chamber of Commerce is doing a test program up in this part of the city. Exactly what you're talking about. I think the nearest location would be right across the street over at the Pavilion. Whiting-Robertsdale Chamber is definitely, I believe this year, moving on that very issue. If it works, and it seems like there's a lot of demand, we will expand that program. And as far as your comments on the bike trail, I appreciate it. You know, what's funny about the bike trails is you get a lot of people that love what you're doing, but it's also one of those you get a lot of people that don't love what you're doing. And I dig in on bike trails because I think they're important, not only about the recreational purposes, but what about the disabled community? And if we're going to lose our bus systems, which we lost our bus systems due to funding problems, we got to have answers how to get around non-motorized transportation safely. And we have some dangerous streets. One of the areas we're bridging over right now with bike trail bridges, we have two projects in the working, is Columbia Avenue, which is a dangerous crossing, and a bike trail goes right across it. And we have 167th in Columbia, which is two dangerous intersections. We're flying over both of them. And also 165th in Amona, which is another dangerous intersection. We have a bridge going over that span right now. We're working closely with the Little Cow River Basin Authority and the town of Munster, and we're doing a bridge over the Little Cow that will link Manor Drive bike trail in Munster to the Monon Trail in Hammond, which will give Munster residents an opportunity to get up here with very few crossings, which is amazing when you think about it. I mean, all the major crossings are going to be bridged or tunneled, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. In the back, Nathan.
Can you let us know for realtors what's the significance of switching the funding for college bound from casino revenue to the water department?
Thank you. And that's it's an unfortunate fact of life. I think I was mayor during the heyday of casino gaming. All right, I'm still mayor, but I think the glory years. I hope I'm still mayor, by the way. I want to point that out. Nothing funky happened. 2008, 2009 in particular, 2010 to a certain extent were the big years of gaming. We saw numbers in Hammond, and we were lucky enough to open what we called at the time Moab, which is the new Horseshoe Casino. We opened Moab literally at the perfect time, and they put in huge numbers the first couple of years. And every year since then, it's gone down. And it's gone down, for a number of reasons. Obviously, people's pocketbooks are a little thinner than they used to be. Jobs are harder to find, so you don't want to go gamble when you don't have stable income. But it's also because of competition. Chicago has expanded their gaming, even though they don't have new facilities recently opened. They have, there's a lot more pool tabs in the bars in Chicago, which competes with us. The Des Plaines Rivers Casino, I'm sure some of you have been to it. It's a beautiful area. Hurt us, and that was a shocking blow to us because I would always talk to the casino guys, and they'd say, Mayor, we're not worried about downtown Chicago. We're not worried about, on the north side of Chicago. We're worried about the south side, because that's where our customers come from, and the high rollers from downtown. High rollers are going to still come to us, Mayor. People on the south side are still going to come to us, but if we have a casino down here, they're going to compete with us. It's going to hurt. They opened up the Rivers Casino, and we saw gaming revenues fall over 10% in the city of Hammond. And if that's up by O'Hare, can you imagine if Mayor Rahm gets what he wants and has a massive casino open down by Navy Pier or something? And part of that deal would also be a casino on the south side of Chicago. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It's going to happen. So we got to get ready, and we are, with the help of the Hammond Council, with the help of the police union and the fire union and the Teamsters that we deal with. We've been telling them, guys, we got to reduce our reliance on this gaming revenue and get ready for the day when instead of pulling in $25 million on gaming revenue, we're pulling in $10 million or $5 million, and we got to be ready. I always tell this story also. Over in Joliet, the city of Joliet was reliant on that gaming revenue, and then our casino burned down, and they ended up laying off a bunch of firemen and policemen just to make the budget. You cannot be reliant on gaming revenue to that extent. So the reason is that we wanted to transfer college bound to a more stable funding source, and people will be using water for the next 20 years, and these communities are locked into these contracts for the next 20 years, and it's a good, stable source of revenue. And plus, I think it just feels better. There was always that, I know the casinos enjoyed the fact that college bound was funded off of gaming revenue, because it made the casino gambling a little bit more palatable, I guess, right? Because, when you think about it, the gaming boats, and I say this to kids all the time, because I talk to all the high schools about college bound, and I tell them all the time, this is gaming revenue, don't gamble. Gambling is a horrible addiction, and it ruins people's lives, and ruins people's families, and ruins people's finances, and, so I think that with it being on water, it just feels better. We use the gaming revenue for the infrastructure of the city, we use the college bound scholarships with the water. In fact, you'll see all the Hammond water towers are going to be painted with the College Bound logo this summer. So, thanks for the question.
college gown is extended for 12 years.
Right.
For those of us who have children who are
Like
2
you.
and 3 years old.
Right, mine's 8.
And you know,
I know this.
you can barely make the cutoff.
Right.
Or,
He's got 2 years covered.
yeah. So what do you do
Good
trying
question.
to get young families to move into some of the beautiful
Right.
areas of Hammond?
Thank you, I appreciate it. You know, it's sort of a, you know, we faced the same dilemma when we created the first promise, which was a 10-year promise, which would have, if you were 12 at the time we created the first one, it would have got you through your college degree. Okay? So people with children that were younger than 12 were like, Mayor, great, but, you know, what about me, right? And we said, well, this is a tough program. As long as the funding's there, this is a tough program to get rid of. It's perfect for our city. It really is, you know, because we want Hammond residents to dig in and to hunker down with us and to make this community it once was, and it's going to be again. And we're moving in the right direction. And all I'm saying to you is this is a key part of, obviously, this administration, but I think of the city. And it was 9-0 with the Hammond City Council both times. I don't see this as a program, unless there's a drastic financial change between now and 12 years from now. I don't see this as a program, as long as the revenue's there, that you can get rid of. And now that it's funded with this extra revenue from water, you know, Munster, Munster or Dyer or East Chicago that sells water, they can't do this because we're on the border. You know, I'm just gonna put this over here. We're lucky. So I think it's one of those programs that's just hard to get rid of. And I think that if we show you we're committed to home ownership and to educating our children now, I think 12 years from now we still will be. But there's no guarantee. You know, I can't, and like with my son Patrick, he's my youngest. You know, he's the only one that's not going to be covered with the promise, with a guarantee. But I have confidence that 12 years from now, whoever the mayor is going to be, and whoever the council people are going to be under a tremendous amount of pressure. We started feeling it about 3 years before the program ended. People are like, Mayor, you know, there's only 3 years left on the program, and my kid's in 10th grade. Are you going to extend it? So we started mulling this issue, and we went out and did our community meetings, and we extended it. I just think as long as the financial condition is still strong, they can do it. Good question. Yes?
What else is going to happen around the Walmart area?
Walmart down. Oh, up here?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Is Phil in there?
Yes.
Could you answer that one for me?
Yeah, what was the
With
question?
the latest info. The Super Walmart, the whole development, the marina development, the Collins family.
Yeah. So obviously the Walmart opened several years back. It's been very successful. It's a great location. That's the key to that site. Is it's right off the Illinois-Indiana border, and you get a lot of traffic, especially again people coming towards the casino. The developer came to us with a plan to build all around it. I believe it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 acres. He asked the city for assistance. We said we can do that. We signed an agreement with them, and we're happy with that. The issue and the reason it has not started yet is the developer, it's not just one owner, it's several owners, and they're trying to work out their agreement with a bank to get the financing so that they can start the project. The city has done all the approvals on our side that we can, and we keep in contact with them, and every time I talk to them, it's very positive. It's Phil, we're very close. We have several banks we're working with. We're looking for the best deal, and we think we're going to get an approval here shortly. The one thing we are dealing with is the owner of the property has a lot of different projects throughout Northwest Indiana and beyond. So we're always competing with his other projects, but it's been very positive. I think you're going to see something probably in the newspaper in the next 6 to 12 months saying that they're moving forward, but we really are waiting on them. And hopefully we'll have a good announcement coming up in the next several months.
That project in itself, we used to call it 35-acre project, and it was 35 acres of land that had never been developed. It was literally worth nothing. And we had to invest a few $1 million into it to make it buildable. And because the city took the initiative and invested the money into the land, because no developer is going to come up and spend $3 million just so that they could develop the land and spend more money. So unless we took the initiative, that land would still be sitting there. It was the former Roby racetrack. I don't think anybody in this room was there when it was a racetrack. But since it was the Roby racetrack, it literally hasn't been anything since then. So just the fact that there's a Walmart there is a victory in itself. And the good thing is, like Phil said, it's such a good location that it's eventually going to develop into something nice.
And Mayor, let me mention, they have committed tenants for the property.
Who?
Well, they're very secretive about that.
Okay.
But I mean, there's businesses that want to locate there very badly because they know, because of the location, how successful they'll be. It's just a matter of, banks have been, I'm sure a lot of you know that, and I know there's some bankers in here because I've seen them. That's my previous life as well. Since 2008, banking has been a lot tougher. Getting a loan from a bank has been a lot tougher. It's slowly easing up as the economy gets better. And I think we're going to have some positive news, but we're relying on the banks, so we'll see.
Marissa and I refinanced our home last year, and I tell you, I couldn't believe how hard it was to get refinanced. I thought it was because I was a Lake County Democrat, but I guess it's tough on everybody. So I know we're over time. So is there any last questions? No, I wanted to let you guys know. It's for those of you that committed to golfing. I checked with the staff and I said, this is a great event. These people from all over the region. I don't think they should have to pay for golf after their outing. And they agreed with me. So everybody's comped on golf today.